Sure.
Matt, can you take it down a bit?
Buzz, from a teaching and a team building standpoint, what does a win like this past Sunday do for you guys as you look to move forward in February?
Yeah, as I've mentioned to you before, I've been very inspired by the resilience of our group. Our staff has been really good at continuing to find margins for us to improve in. The result hasn't been what we wanted, but a credit to our guys. I think they've done their best within the process, and so for them to be rewarded the way that they were, it was fun to watch. And it was fun to be a part of in the post-game locker room, traveling home. So all of that is good.
And then Iowa comes to College Park. They lead the Big Ten in fewest points per game allowed. I think they're second in turnover margin. What do they do defensively that?
So it's unique. I've enjoyed studying them. Obviously, it's our first mirror opponent, and it seems like an eternity ago since we played them. But to your point, top 20 offense in the country, one of the best league guards in our league, if not the country. But I think what doesn't get the notoriety maybe that they're deserving of, they're number one in the league in turnover rate and turnovers forced, top 10 in the country in turnovers forced. They really cause havoc because of what they do off the ball defensively. And the more I watch, and I still have more to do, but the more I watch, I think what they're doing defensively is aiding their offensive numbers. If you look at what they've done in their 8 wins versus their 4 losses, and you see the difference analytically in what they were doing defensively and offensively, I think their defense is helping their offense, is what good teams do. But our struggle at their place, and it's been our struggle at other times too, but 18 turnovers equal 21 points for them. That's not to take away from the prowess that they play with offensively and the unique design to their offense, but our offense actually helped their offense because of what they do defensively.
Hey, Buzz, Pete Gilbert here. Good to see you. I'm curious, do you get a sense, do you know before a game, is there an inkling that Diggy may have a day where he can go off like that? Have you seen anything?
No. We're very transparent within the program, not just with Diggy, with all of those guys. I think the game before he had shot 9 balls for 9 points. The game before he had shot 11 balls for 11 points. We don't have the margin offensively to be able to absorb that. And Elijah scored 20 the game before, and he scored 2 the game before that. And so how can we find consistency? Obviously, Diggy has the ability to score, but how can we find consistency not just from Diggy but from everybody? I don't necessarily think that I have an inkling. I think once it gets going, we try to find ways to maybe keep it going because we are deficient in some ways offensively. So when we can find somebody, just like Elijah, I think 20 was his game career high at Maryland. And so we were trying to run other things to give him looks. Some of that transpires with Diggy and some of his exploits scoring-wise. But I don't necessarily think it's an inkling. Sometimes it's off-ball screen coverage. Sometimes it's what they do off the ball when he has the ball. You can kind of maybe predetermine some of that. But some of that's changed as the scouting report on him has changed. And so since Gochi's been out, your scouting report's going to change because there's nobody to throw it inside to. But I think that one thing that was really good for us is we scored a lot of points at the rim at Minnesota, but it's not necessarily because we were throwing it inside to someone. So we've tried to figure out some new things offensively off penetration, how our movement can maybe put more pressure on the rim.
And one other thing is, it's been the hardest year for you to try and keep a team and players motivated going because the results haven't matched what we know you all have wanted?
Yeah, I think from a difficulty standpoint relative to the results, you always want to do better. And I don't want it to be about me, but this hasn't happened often in my career. But I've also never coached a team with 15 new players, which is part of what this model has become. But as I've said, and I was saying it not post Sunday, I was saying it amidst the streak of losing. Those guys have been great in regards to listening. They've been great in regards to wanting to do what we're asking us to do. Has every one of our practices been a 10 out of a 10? No, but it's not because the intent of their heart is wrong. They've stayed together. I thought we were together in spirit, and it was rewarding for them to see some of the results. But I've seen a lot of teams quit. And, you know, in the 25-26 season, you can do a lot of research on this. There's been more lopsided games than ever before in the history of college basketball. And there's probably a multitude of reasons for that. But our guys, to their credit and their parents' credit, have kind of hung around. And I've told them that long before I was saying it publicly. We will be held accountable to the results. But their willingness to stay true to the process, I really appreciate.
Coach, we're going to have Michael here.
Hey, Coach, do you have an update on Pharrell Payne for the rest of the season?
No, sir.
And then you guys hosted Kyrie Walker. Do you have any thoughts on players who sign contracts professionally being able to play collegiately?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about a prospect. What I can say is all of this is ever changing. And so I think it's incumbent upon all of us in coaching to continue to investigate all ways and explore all options. A visit, it hasn't happened. I don't look at the internet, so whatever you're speaking of, I can't speak to a prospect. But visits are probably not what they once were. That's part of our investigative process. And you have to be prepared on whatever this is going to end up being to assemble the best roster. And so our staff has been, again, roster construction in year number one, when we got the job, being more prepared and better prepared. I think we took a great step in who we signed in November. We're excited about those guys. And we'll have to be in that same prepared mode when the spring hits.
Do you find any issue with players who play G League games being able to come back to college and play against guys who don't have that experience?
I think like every coach is saying, like, what are the rules? Is that possible? And I think that's what my point is not specific to that kid, just specific to what this has become. Is it American kids? Is it European kids? Is it kids that played in the NBA, kids that didn't play in the NBA, kids that didn't finish their college eligibility, kids that did finish their college eligibility? There's a lot of minutia in there that nobody has the exact answer to, and that's why I think you have to it doesn't mean that you're going to make a decision on who you're going to sign, but I think once at some point maybe there will be some establishment of what it is. But until then, I think you have to be prepared to assemble the best roster that you can, knowing that they fit what you want to be about on and off the floor. Sure.
Hey, Buzz, you've talked a lot about the word progress this year. At this point in the season, what does that look like? How would you define that term?
Yeah, we've called it Foundational February. Over the last 10 days, what are we doing in the film room? What are we doing on the floor? Is it 2 days before? Is it 1 day before? Is it early bird? I made a decision post Sunday when we were traveling back. We were scheduled to do 2 days before yesterday. I changed it, and we did early bird today. I thought our guys needed a day off physically and mentally. I think there has been some traction in the process of the progress we want to make in year number one. Not the results that we want, but in regards to what we want to be about. And we've tried not to, specifically this month, we've tried not to have so many adjustments that we lose track of the foundation. Some of the things that we're doing in pre-practice are things that we would do in October. Some of the things that we're doing, that we're about to do right now in film 1 day before, these are the things that we would do in November, just so that we continue to stay true to what we want to be about, not just in between the lines, but when we're working in private, so to say.
And we've seen the same kind of core starting group for a few games now.
I don't know. You know, like, I think, go ahead. Sorry for
I was just
interrupting.
going to ask, is that something that you anticipate remaining consistent, or is it still fluid?
Well, I think we've tried 11 different groups. I know some of that obviously is based on the roster availability. Some of that is based on, I think this was post-game against Ohio State. It could have been Purdue. I can't remember. If you look at all of the things that we need to improve at offensively, and you looked at all the things that we need to do improve at defensively, is there anything that intertwines? And the one thing that we thought we were deficient at on both sides of the ball was on the glass. And so our 11th starting lineup was based somewhat on, can we be a little bigger? Can we be a little taller? Can we be a little more physical? And if so, would that equate to our offensive rebound percentages better and our defensive rebound percentages better? In the last 2 games, it has been. There's a consequence to that relative to now in foundational February. Can you do those exact same things that you want to do offensively and defensively with those 5 guys? Because that changes your rotation. And so I'm not saying that we're going to stay with it, but there has been, I can't remember what we were on the offensive glass, but dramatically better. Our defensive rebound percentage is not better, but we have blocked a couple of shots, which has not been the case, and we haven't got our shots blocked quite as much, and we have had a higher free throw attempt rate. The thing that really skewed the numbers was giving the ball to Ohio State 16 times. And so was that because of the new starting lineup? We played with a much lower turnover rate. I know they played different defensively. But if we can accrue any points from the free throw line, it sure does help us offensively. But the way that we're going to accrue those free throw points is the same way anybody else would. Can we not give the ball to the other team? Can we get a shot on the rim and possibly get it back? And then can we do things similar to what I was saying earlier? Since we're not really throwing it in there to anybody, is there anything that we can do from a premise standpoint that off penetration, our movement puts pressure on the rim? And so I think there has been some carryover in that. And I don't know, this is kind of coach cliche stuff, and I try not to ever say that stuff, but I don't know that any of the starting lineups differences or changes has really mattered. Against Ohio State, we had our first turkey in the first 4 minutes in Big Ten play. That was a huge swing vote to start that same group, even though DA, I think, gave the ball to them 4 times. What I wanted to say, though, is I don't necessarily, I'm not over concerned about who starts, just the consistency of who's playing. I think against Purdue, that was coaches versus cancer. Is that right? We started a different group and started out 10-2. Okay, well, we can't. That's hard for us to overcome. Start a different group against Ohio State, collectively have 16 turnovers, but we got a turkey in the first 4 minutes. Played in a real game from start to finish on the road. Is it because of who started? I thought we started pretty good again, but I think it was the consistency of, was Diggy a little bit Diggy? Did Solo have double-figure rebounds? Did we play with a low turnover rate? We shot over 70% from the free throw line. We did a great job on the offensive glass. We weren't terrible on the defensive glass. I think it's almost an anomaly, to be honest, that they shot 50% of their balls from 3 and made 14 of them, and we still won on the road. But if you look at some of the other things that we did defensively, it was the best. Percentage of shots that they scored at the rim, et cetera, et cetera. So is it the starters? Is it a bigger group? It's probably a little bit of all of it.
Hey, Buzz. I think something that's kind of compounded a lot of frustration from fans this year is that there's a lot of other first-year coaches around the country having success immediately.
Yeah.
We've seen how the portal can kind of accelerate a rebuild. I know every situation's different, but why has this job, this season in particular, been such a challenge?
There's been a lot of guys in their first year done a great job. A lot of them in this league. Nico's done a great job. Coach at Indiana's done a great job. The coach that's coming in here tonight has done an unbelievable job. We have to do a better job in our decisions. We have to do a better job in our evaluations. We can't control the injuries. That's not justification for our lack of success. I think Maryland's a great job. I am completely aware. Whatever was going on the internet that said I didn't want to talk to the media, I don't know. I have not tried to dodge anything relative to the results. I've coached 19 years as a head coach. I'm completely aware of how good Maryland is and how disappointing our season has been. Our staff is continuing to study and figure out ways for improvement, but our system going forward will be more sustainable. We're excited about a lot of the things that we've learned, and there's not an excuse or justification for our lack of success other than we have to do better, and we will do better.
Kind of going off that, you said you haven't seen it, but there's a lot of fans who say that they want to hear more from you, they want to see more of you, they want to try to get to know you and this team better, because they don't know you guys yet. It's so many new faces. Do you feel you've done all you can in that regard, or is there anything you're going to look to do differently or do more of moving forward?
I would say I've done as much or more than I've done anywhere. I don't know exactly what I should have. What do you think I should have done more of?
I'm just speaking for fans.
Oh, I don't know.
More, FaceTime with.
Yeah, I've said yes to everything I've ever been asked to do, unless it was relative to practice or a game. Whatever was said by John or Big Ten or media, I don't know all of those people, but I have never said no unless it impacted what I needed to do on my job. So I apologize for those that don't think they know me or whoever these fans are. I'm happy to. I'm not hiding anything.
And you touched on it a few minutes ago, but you talk about the history of this program. Is that something over the past year, as you kind of get settled in here, you've tried to spend a lot of time trying to learn, to integrate yourself in that way with the program, with the university?
Yeah, I read a lot. I did know probably more than a newcomer just because of my relationship with Coach Williams, my relationship with Coach Drizel. Obviously, I know Coach Drizel's family from way back. George Raveling and I were extremely close. That was Coach Drizel's first hire here. So I've known about Maryland long before I came here and long before those relationships with all of those coaches started. What I've tried to do since I've been here is Coach Loxley's been great on helping me with the past, and then I've tried to read at least one book a month specific to Maryland athletics. I read in January, my book was Coach Friesen's book that was written in 1992. I know that's a different era. I knew bits and pieces of that because I know Coach Franklin very well, and I love football. But one of the, what's the lady's name? I haven't met her, and I don't use email. But anyway, I have this copy of every book ever written that has to do with the history of Maryland, not just athletics. And so I go through that, and I don't have a computer. And so when I see it, I just take a picture of it, and I send it to my ops guy to read that. I read this month, I'm going to read Coach Williams. I've already read two on Coach. I can't remember the name of this one. So I would say I probably know more history about Maryland than most people that have only been here for 7 months. But I love learning about all that stuff, especially if it's about coaches. I'm reading. I haven't read it yet. It's on my list. I keep telling him I'm going to read it, and I'm going to. Is Johnny Holliday's book.
All right, I think we need to do the last question for Eli just because of time, and then I'll get the players in.
Hey, Buzz, I think it was on the radio the other day you mentioned Dre and DA getting some more on-ball opportunities because of the point guard situation this year. Just wanted to speak about the point guard position. What do you want like a Buzz Williams point guard to look like here going forward, and what are some of the traits that you think are?
Yeah, good question. Any of the four-year players that we've had that have played the point for us, I know we were spoiled the last 4 years, but the four-year point guard at Virginia Tech was really good, and the four-year point guard at Marquette was really good for us. Can he run your team? Is he a quarterback? Is he vocal? Does he impact winning whether he has the ball or doesn't have the ball? Can he guard a guard, not necessarily the point guard? Can he make good decisions that impact the team relative to time, score, momentum? Does he have an innate sense for what is right, whether it involves him or somebody on his team? Does he make the other four guys on the floor better, or is it only for him? And personally, I would like you to play with at least a 2.5, 3.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. And I would like 18 to 22% of your points to come from the free throw line. That would be what I think a good ball guard is.
Okay, let me get Coach out so I can get the players in before film. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
A team that comes in here red hot.
Obviously, you know, they have great backcourt with Bennett Sturts. Obviously, that's going to be a big part of our game plan going in, making sure he just doesn't get to his numbers, making it a rough night for him. We've been on a really good, I would say, run of just making sure we play hard every game. So we just got to keep coming in with that physicality that we've been given and that hard work that we've been doing. So.
Hey, Dave, how hard has this year been, and where does the motivation come for the next month to finish this thing out as strong as it is? Obviously, there have been times where it's been spectacular for you guys, but not enough, certainly the way you guys imagined what it was going to be.
I wouldn't say this year been hard. I mean, we playing basketball, so we really blessed to be doing this. I wouldn't say it's hard, but we want to win. We want to be in the best position to win. I think the inspiration and motivation comes from different things individually, but as a team, this is what we live for. This is what we dream of doing since we was kids. So we definitely want to win, and we want to give that to the fans because how loyal they are. We want to give that to our families, our friends, even to ourselves. But I wouldn't say this has been hard because we blessed to even be playing basketball. I think it's hard when you're homeless with kids. That's hard.
For either of you guys, just how has this group come together, not even basketball, but just off the court, with it being so many new faces? You know, there were the few who followed Buzz from Texas A&M, but it's just so many new faces. How has this group kind of come together outside of basketball, off the court?
I think we spend a lot of time together, obviously by ourselves and with each other. I think I would say this group has a lot of people with their own personalities, and just like 4-5 is kind of the captain of that. We follow behind him with the off-the-court antics of just being funny, great people. We love watching basketball. We love talking to each other, joking with each other. We actually have great camaraderie, so I would say we came together a lot better than I would have ever expected.
Is there any sort of trend that you've noticed with yourself when you're having an efficient game versus not as an efficient game in terms of the types of shots that you're creating? Buzz was just in here and mentioned there's been more of an emphasis on creating penetration, getting downhill. Is that something that you've also been kind of placing more of an emphasis on?
I would say so. Yeah, trying to get the best shots. But I would say we have implemented different offenses. We have dealt with injuries. We dealt with a lot of things throughout the season. So every game I can't get 30, I can't get 40. But I would say that it's definitely, I could get the same looks every game and still miss. So I don't know if it's a looks thing, but I definitely understand that certain teams play me harder, certain teams double me, they make it tough for me. So credit to those teams, but we still just figuring out how we playing together and how we can get each other easier shots. So I don't know if there's a trend, but sometimes it go in, sometimes it don't. So you just gotta stay focused.
Yeah. And then with DA and Andre, as freshmen, getting tons of on-ball reps, just what kind of advice have you given them for how they can get more comfortable running an offense? Are you pulling them off the side during games? Is it more so outside of game time? Like, kind of how are you helping bring them along?
I definitely try to do my best with teaching anybody, but also learning. I think they do great things. I think Dre does a great job getting downhill, and he's starting to play really well off 2 feet. So that's something I can learn from. I think they both have great instincts. DA he can score at 3 levels. So rather than just trying to teach them, obviously I'm older, I've seen it, so I teach them as much as I can every day. But I try my best to learn from them too, because they're really good, and they were 10 times, 1,000 times better than me when I was 19, 20. So I still could learn from them, which I try to do.
I hate to do this, but I gotta get them out for film. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.